Oh, that was so damn close. Holy shit. Hoping that I'm not as sunburnt as I look in this image. Hopefully it's just some weird colour balance thing. Anyway, I thought I'd give you my first thoughts on the Albabird, having just flown it twice. Really cool little plane. Yeah, I really like it. It's kind of just what I was hoping it would be, which is really agile and easy to launch, and efficient and quiet. It's really quiet, which is nice. So yeah, it's a cool little plane. A couple of things I was really surprised at were it was much more agile than I expected it to be. Like, it turns on a dime, and the ailerons, it's got plenty of aileron authority, so it's actually quite acrobatic. Like, for example, it feels more agile to me than an XuWing Pro, significantly more agile to me. Bit of a downside though is the rudder is very weak, and I'd heard other people talk about that, so I wasn't too surprised. But yeah, like it basically, it does almost nothing. So I might see if I can, I don't know, extend that with some extra foam or something like that to get a bit more authority. Launch wise, the first launch was very lucky. Auto launch saved me, so thanks iNav. I didn't do a great throw. It pitched, or it yawed as I threw it, so I almost hit the ground. But thankfully iNav caught it just in time. So if you are going to Maiden this plane, a couple of tips I would give you is, first of all, raise your iNav idle throttle to say like 1500, or maybe even 1550 if you can, depending on your motors and everything, as long as you can hang on to it before you throw it. But that helps. I had mine at about 1400, I think, and that was a little weak for, having it launch out of your hands, unless you give it a really good throw, which I didn't throw it hard enough. But idle throttle will help get it off the ground, and also raise the launch throttle. So I think the default iNav is like 1700. I raised mine to 1900, I think it was 1900 the first launch. I had it at 1900, which was like, really lucky, because if I had any less than that, I think it would have hit the ground and probably broken a few things. So I've actually raised it to 2000 now, because it doesn't really make that much of a difference. The motors and the ESCs can handle it, so I figure I might as well chuck full power at it it might help me out another time if I have a bad launch. And the second launch went much better as a result of those 2 changes. I am going to see if I can figure out a better way of throwing it, because the 2-handed throw seems to result in the tail kicking out. Maybe that's just a practice thing. Maybe I'll get better at it. But maybe I can, if I can grip it more firmly around the belly, because the belly's quite wide. It's hard to get one hand around and grip it. So especially when the motors are going, it wants to fly out of your hands. And mine's laminated too, so it's a bit slippery. So maybe I'll put some grip tape around there or something so I can hang on to it a bit better. What else? Yeah, it glides really nicely. So even with the motors off, and I haven't got an ESC brake on these ESCs, which I would like to get. I think it would be even better if it has an ESC brake. But without an ESC brake and the motors off, it will glide at about 30 km an hour. And it's very stable, like it doesn't want to drop a wing or anything. It's quite happy to just slowly glide down. In fact, my very first landing was just like a just drop out of the sky landing, and it hit the ground a little harder than I would like. But it's fine. It's the good thing about it being quite kind of short is that it doesn't have a lot of flex in it, so it was fine with that kind of hard landing. The skid plate I put on the bottom worked really well. That I can already see there's a few chunks out of it with like rocks and stuff where I've hit rocks, so that 3D printed skid plate's working well. I hot glued that on so I can just replace it later. I just heat it up and take it off and put a new one on if I want to. What else? Cruise speed is not too bad. Like it'll cruise at about 50 km an hour. It will do 80 km an hour if you really give it the beans, but then you're using a lot more power. Like I was cruising around at kind of like 6 or 7 amps, which is not like the bare minimum. That's like a probably like 45% throttle, something like that maybe. It would fly on about 3.5, 4 amps on a 4S. Using the PNP and the 3-blade motors. Everything came down cool when I checked it, so the motors were cool, ESCs were cool. So I mean, I might even put a more aggressive prop on it, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it flies fine, but I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could. It can definitely handle more weight, so I'll probably be putting a bit more cameras and stuff like that on it. I've got a lot of lead weight in the nose right now. I've got about 90 grams, I think, in the nose just to get it to balance right now. But yeah, overall, very cool little plane. Flies really nicely. It's got heaps of elevator control, heaps of aileron control. Just needs a bigger rudder, and that's it. You could put a giant battery in this if you wanted to. There's heaps of space in the fuselage to push the battery back and have more battery in there, and it would fly very nicely on a lithium ion because amp draw is quite low, cruising around at like 8 amps. So yeah, I want to get the pan and tilt working next. I want to put my GoPro on it and my other 360 cameras and things like that, and it'll make an awesome little kind of camera platform. Yeah, haven't got a bad thing to say about it. Glad I bought 2. So yeah, I'll update you as I make more changes and learn more things, but otherwise, great plane. Highly recommend it. Buy one immediately. Bye.